everybody. My name is Chris Flippin, and today we're going to do a podcast for the Vibe Tribe where we create, build, grow, and love. So my name, again, is Chris Flippin. I'm a happiness coach, and today on my show, I have the wonderful, amazing Spiritual Tiik. So, Tiik, if you could just give us a little introduction about yourself, let us know who you are, what you do. That'd be awesome.
Oh, thank you, Chris. It's so good to actually be on your show. I don't think I've ever been on like a video live podcast before, so I'm really excited about this opportunity. So I have to say thank you to you first, and thank you to your beautiful community and all the amazing work that you're doing out there, because I know that you're changing lives and touching souls. So thank you for this opportunity. So you know what, beautiful souls out there, as Chris said, my name is Spiritual Tiik. My birth name is Latika, but my family and my friends call me Tiik. And you out there can call me Tiik as well. Now, where the spiritual side came from, because I feel like I came out the womb being spiritual. You know, my mom would tell you from a young age, I used to just kind of know things. And, you know, you kumbaya people out there, you know what I'm talking about. So, you know, it's just something that's been innate, I think. But for me, my whole life journey, even like without really knowing what being Spiritual Tiik was really about, was really just living through my heart and serving and helping people. And that came into my divine purpose in life. So my divine purpose in life is to be used as a spiritual vessel to help people out of the world. And I do that in multiple ways. I do that in my 9-to-5, but most importantly, my passion, where I actually do holistic healing work, which I really, really enjoy, helping people get out of energetic pain. So those of you who are thinking, what does she mean by energetic pain? I'm talking about those chakra centers that run up and down the body. And like when you've experienced some, you know, those low points, we'll call them low points. Chris knows what I'm talking about. We'll call them
contrast.
So exactly. So it's like the things get stuck in the body. And like when something's blocked, it's like this, you know? And then so what I do is I help shake it out and move through. And when I say by I mean me being connected to the universe, because divine, you know, healing energy runs through me and it channels through my hands. So I can go through titles, but I like to say that the energy really comes from one pure location. So all the different modality names don't really matter. It's the intention and making sure I'm vibrating on a high frequency. So I don't know. I go off on a tangent. So I hopefully that answers.
No, that's perfect. So that's actually flows perfectly into my next question. So my next question is, how would you describe your personal style? Like who is Tika?
So you know what, Chris, that's an excellent question, because like is it okay if I tell you a little tiny story?
Please, yes.
Okay. So, you know, this whole journey has been phenomenal. And last year when I started this whole social media thing, I went on Instagram first, and I was like scared, like, oh my God, I'm going to do videos. What does this mean? People know who I am. You know what I mean? And so I was like, ah. And then, but I wrote this poem, and it's exactly what you're asking. It's about me being perfectly imperfect. And so, you know, some people, they see you as a person, they go, oh my God, they think because what they see on the outside that everything's going so amazingly. And I'm like, you know what? I'm perfectly imperfect. You embrace the lows as much as you embrace the high. And Tiik, I'm everything. So when people think, oh, you're spiritual, you got to be so, I'm not a yogi. I don't sit on the top of a mountain day in and day out meditating, but do I connect? Of course I do. Right. So do I feel like I'm a little spiritual gangster? I can be. I'm from Inglewood, California.
Oh, you know? Straight up.
I know you appreciate that.
My daughter was born in Paramount.
Oh, so you already know California.
Yeah. Yep. Sorry to interrupt.
So it's like, you know, me, I feel like I'm normal, whatever normal is, you know, normal meaning I'm no different than the next person. I have the same humanisms, you know what I mean? I go to the bathroom, I gotta eat, I do all of those things. And the beauty of it is that, you know, people think like, oh, well, maybe you're doing something different. I'm not doing anything different than anyone else. It's just, I just become a little bit more aware and tapped into some energy that everyone has access to. You know what I mean?
Absolutely.
So I just feel like I'm a well-rounded person. You know, my humanisms is, I'm an assertive, I guess, alpha type female. However, I'm loving, I'm caring. They call me Tea Mama. So I'm Mama T or Tea Mama. You come to my house and I'm like to cook for you. You understand?
Awesome.
Because that's what my mom taught me. So you got that element of me, and I'm the oldest sibling. So that's that nurturing side. So I feel like I'm well-rounded. A bit of everything.
Awesome. So with that well-roundedness, how would you say that you encourage innovative ideas?
So like for people or myself?
All the way around, for like how, like, if, like, whenever you feel like an innovative ideas, or like something that you have to do to encourage yourself, and even in others, if you see that maybe somebody else, like you can see something in somebody else that they don't, how do you encourage them to be a little bit more innovative with themselves?
Well, I think, you know what? I think it all starts from my heart. And being somebody, and you know what, I'm going to say this, but there's a positive, exactly. There's a positive to that, but it can be to my detriment, because I know it's a bunch of you, Chris, I know you one of them as well. I'm very good to give out, right? I'm a huge giver, and it comes from here. So when I see that whatever it is that I have to offer can be a benefit, then I give myself. And you know what I had to learn over the years is it's okay to reciprocate that back to self. So on balance, it's about listening to what it is inner that you want to achieve. And I say that to myself, and I say that to the people that I coach or people I come in contact with. It's a very simple question. It's asking yourself, what do you truly want? What's truly resonating with your heart? Not necessarily what's resonating in the world or what somebody told you have to do and blah, blah, blah. Because when people do things from their heart, that's when they see progress. That's when the truth really unfolds. And I think, like, when I think about my career, like the 9 to 5, I have to be a very good listener. I have to really truly hear what the person is saying. And then being a spiritualist is something about what vibrates in a tone. You know what I mean? You can really tell someone's truth through their throat chakra, and then it combines with what's happening in their heart. And I think that has to mirror. So I make sure that I'm a good communicator and active listener to encourage someone to speak what it is that they feel is their truth.
Awesome. So so the next question I have for you is, how did you learn to embrace risk taking?
Well, then, so back in the day when I was young, but I'm not a kid anymore, right? So I get credit for the song now.
Right.
Not my song. No, but risk taking. I think I grew up as an inner city kid. I am that, that person that's the first to go to college, the first this, the first that. And it was one of those things, growing up in an environment where people are like, you can't do this, or you may not do this. It pushed me to be resilient. So it pushed me to go, no, but I can and I will. And I know for some people that may feel like a challenge, but I know that growing up in challenging situations made me think, I don't want to live like that, or I don't want to do that. So I actually just took that step. Even when I was super afraid, it's like, what's the quote, Chris? Like, feel the fear and do it anyway. Forgive me. I don't know.
Right. Yeah. I'm not familiar with that, but I've heard something similar to that before.
Something similar to that, right? But it's like, that's how I've lived my whole life. And don't get me wrong, too. I'm not saying it's the best emotion, but when I was way, way younger, a lot of things I was driven, I was angry about how life was at the time. And that was my driver. Not that I was angry doing things towards people. No. Because my heart is a really good heart. But I mean, when someone told me I couldn't do something, that upset me. And then I was like, well, I'm going to show you. As I've gotten older, I know that you don't have to show anybody anything. Right. But it was something that pushed me to continue to achieve the goals. Like, no, I don't have to live like this. I don't have to do that. Right. I can have that. I can have that too. Or let me try to learn on how to get it. You know what I mean?
Yep, absolutely. So real quick, so if you can just kind of give me an example of like, one time where you really had to embrace that, like that risk, like, and what was going through your mind when that happened?
I got a million examples. So we can let's go back.
How about let's talk about real quick. Sorry. How about getting up on stage at SPL?
Okay. Well, you know what though? That to me, okay, let's back it up. Let's do that. So Superpower Live with Erico. Now, if I let me go back just about 6 months really quick. So when I first came on board to this year, I knew I needed to make changes. I knew I had gotten to a certain place in my life. I was like, you know what, Tiik? Yes, you start the business. You're not doing clients at your house anymore. You got an actual physical premises. I knew I was like right here, but I was like, how do I get up here, right? And then I just started setting my intention. And Chris, I know you know a lot about manifestation and setting your intention, but I went really hard on that. And that was my everyday goal. Like, I need a tribe. Like, that was the mantra. fell into, literally, it's a backstory, and that's quite long, but fell into the whole master of the stage with Eric Ho. And I didn't really know who Eric was at the time. So this is how fast life works. And this is why this is a perfect example. I'm glad you pulled it up. Because I didn't know who Eric was at the time, I just went in all open. I thought, oh, you know what, personal development. Yeah, let me go to this. This sounds awesome, right?
Right.
That accelerated to go into a superpower live. And then I was like, no, this is my tribe. Hold on, how can I get into this? Fell into it, became a global impact leader. And you know, what's that movie? Is it Jim Carrey where he says yes to everything? What's the name of that movie?
Oh, I can't remember. Is the one where like it's all about his life?
Yes, and I think he just said, okay.
So is that Liar Liar?
Don't get me wrong.
Listen,
Jim, if you're watching this, we apologize because I do.
Right, Jim. Sorry, Jim.
Sorry, Jim. But the movie is important because I think it is Jim Carrey, where he was like, in the movie, he was like saying yes to everything. And the thing is that's how I kind of came into this situation. I was like, what do I have to lose? What do I have to lose? Just, go with it. And that's what I did. So what happened was, it's like, I ended up becoming a global impact creator where, I'm working with Eric for the next year on learning all these different skills and business, and then, personal development, all of these things, just expanding. And that expanding is important because I got 3 words. And I don't know if I told you this before, Chris, but the words were expansion, elevation, and mission. And my mission is to be used as a divine vessel, to use as a spiritual vessel to help people all over the world. So that's the mission. But to elevate, I need support. I need my soul family. You know what I mean? And people like you, Chris, people like Eric, the soul family is just finding my way to me, and I'm finding my way to them, which is the beauty, awesome. And so it's just amazing. So an expansion, the whole global thing, elevating to that. So this is how I felt the thing was happening with Eric. And then I fell onto speaker mastery, and then that was just transformational about learning the stage. Now, back in the day, maybe I think in this decade, I had this dream about speaking on stage, and my brother was handing me these beautiful indigo crystals. They were like blue, but they were being absorbed into me, right?
Wow.
And then I was like, DJ, I kept saying, DJ, I can't hold all these. And he was like, sis, you can. And then I'm looking at him, and they just continue to absorb into my body. And then I turned around, swear, in the dream, and I remember it like it was yesterday. I had on khaki pants, a white button-down shirt, had big afro hair, and then I had on some heels, of course, right? And I turned around, and it was like hundreds of thousands of people in the crowd. And I knew when I woke up that I was meant to be on a stage, and my voice was going to shed light into the hearts of people to help raise the vibration. I just didn't know the when or the how. So when I did speaker mastery, it was just like, I went all in. This whole thing we keep talking about, playing full out. I decided to play full out. I decided to be as vulnerable as I could be, to be exposed as I could be. And I said, you know what, Tika, what do I have to lose? I don't know these people. Who cares, right?
Right.
So I went there with that type of mindset. And next thing you know, I did mastery of the stage. And at mastery of the stage, I would never forget, because Eric said to me, he said a few times, he said, Tika, you remind me of Lisa Nichols. And I was like, oh, that's a really nice compliment.
Seriously, I would agree. I would agree 100% on that.
Thank you, babe. Thank you. So I was super like, that's really sweet. But then I don't think it dropped into my subconscious, right? Like, I was just like, that was really nice. Then he said it a second time, and I'm like, oh, he really sees something. Oh, I need to focus, right? And then, like, I got on stage, and I don't remember specifically what I was on stage for. However, like, he had said to me, Tika, are you going to be coming to Global Leadership Conference? And I was like, yeah. He was like, I want you to MC it. And I was jumping up and down like, yeah, oh my God. And then all of a sudden, like on the 4th jump, I just started to cry, because then the vision came, and it was like, this is what you're meant to do, Tika. Right. So continue to take the risk, continue to take the action. What do I have to lose? And then next thing you know, they're like, you know what? There's a video. They was like, do a video for a testimonial. I won the challenge. And they were like, do you want to go to LA? I was like, cool, I get to go to LA. I flew to LA. And the thing is that all I kept doing was saying, yeah, I'll do it. And people might think, oh, but yeah, you must have this money, that money. But no, I didn't know the how. I didn't know how I was getting to LA. Right. I didn't plan to get to LA. I just didn't do any of that. I just said, let me go and do it. And by me coming to LA, I met you, Chris. I met a whole nother tribe of people it's just phenomenal. You know what I mean?
Yeah, so, SPL was amazing.
wasn't it just though?
Yeah.
Wasn't it just?
Yeah,
So.
no, I mean, it was like one of the most awesome experiences that I've ever had, and not just, you know, obviously the meditation at the end was great, but you know, the first 2 days were amazing too. And I think what I really enjoyed about the entire event, and I got goosebumps right now all over, was all the awesome, amazing souls that I met while I was there. I mean, it was so just amazing. I connected with so many people, like, you know, again, like yourself. I mean, it's just like, and just all the other people. I can't wait to be able to do stuff with, you know, I got Liam that I want to do an interview with, and a few other people, you know, like Hero and all those, you know, other people too. So, and this is perfect. So I want to ask you, you know, so how do you constantly challenge your underlying beliefs and assumptions? Because I know that a lot of us, like even myself, you know, there's underlying beliefs of self-doubt or worry, so how do you challenge those beliefs in yourself?
Well, so it's twofold, Chris. So the first thing is that being an energy healer, that's something that I actually do to help people. But obviously there was a story to get to where I am. So the subconscious belief system, I help people unblock limiting belief systems in their mind. But for me to get to where I am, I had to work on me. You know, it's like peeling back the layers of the onion. You know what I mean? So nowadays, when a limiting belief come in, I literally act like there's a huge hand coming, a spiritual hand. I catch it and I throw it into the light very quickly, or I'll say delete, delete, delete. But I've gotten to a place to where I can take that low vibration and throw it away and keep on a higher vibration. Right. Now that has taken, and I'm being very transparent and honest, that has taken time. A lot of healing, because you know, in this carnation you go through whatever. Everyone has a story, don't we? All got stories. Right. So in this carnation I've had stories and I've had to heal over time. So leading up to that, I did a lot of work with, well, I think it kind of helped that I had a psychology degree as well. So you got the spiritual support. I'm keeping it real.
But for the listeners listening right now, what would you say? So if someone wants to start that healing process for them, like, what would you say is a good starting point? Because I think that's what a lot of people have difficulty with. I know for myself, there's like that first, like, what's the first step towards that healing?
Well, first of all, I think anyone that is in a place to say that they know that they've been through something and they're ready for healing and change, that's literally because awareness. It's awareness, right? Right. And then stepping into that, it's your mindset. And for many people, but when they're combining a life experience or trauma, then you gain limiting beliefs because of those things. Or for some people may not, you know, they may say, well, I don't feel like I experienced trauma. So let me just speak to everybody as a collective. For anyone that has anything that's stagnated, has ever in their life had anything that stagnated them from a goal, it is some sort of limiting belief system in their subconscious mind that's keeping them from doing it. And the first thing, you know, your mindset, what we affirm. I always tell people that even what you say out of your mouth is an affirmation. Some people think, oh, I got to say, I am this, I am that. Yeah, the I am statements, the incantation, they're really powerful. But if you say your affirmations in the morning, but then all day long, you're telling people how life sucks, well, those are affirmations too. So you know what I mean?
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Catching it. Like catching the dialogue, you know, and again, going back to the awareness. So I was just saying to one of my clients just the other day, I said, well, you know, sweetheart, everything that you do, you say. I said, just look around my studio. What do you see? And she was just like, a lot of positivity. I said, your lifestyle needs to represent how you want to live. And that's where I would say the beginning is you start shifting things in your home, you know. So for example, if people, well, what's the biggest issue right now? Like finances or bills. Well, people usually have a stack of bills somewhere. Just go through it, separate it, you know, declutter your mind. You understand what I mean?
Right there.
That's the key in my mind. It's a starting point.
I really want to touch on that because I know for me, like that was huge. And you know, the decluttering, right? And it's like what no longer serves me, right? And so one of the things that I was explaining to one of my clients, you know, just yesterday, was that, you know, it's okay to feel those emotions. Like when those emotions come through, right? You have to allow your body to process them. Right? Exactly. Because otherwise then you're just shoving them down and you're not allowing them to pass through you. And the way that I was explaining to her was when the first thought initially comes in, whatever it may be, like let's say somebody wants to get their ex back, right? And they're like, oh my God, they're never going to call me. Okay, well that's the first thought that gets you into that mode, right? So allow yourself. So what's the second thought, third thought, fourth thought, fifth thought, however many thoughts. Now, when you come back to that first one again, that's when you need to stop. That's when so we can't recycle the thoughts over again, because then that's where the incessant cycle that never ends, keeps going, right? And I really like how you were talking about how you grasp it and throw it out.
Yeah.
For me, like, I actually put it in a little box, right? Like, and I actually go, okay, hold on a second, we're gonna put you right in here, and I'm gonna, and I actually, like, so depending on what it is, like, I'll actually put it behind me and put it away, right? So that way it's like, okay, I don't want to think, like, there's nothing, this is the past, we can't do anything about this, right? So you're just going to go right here. Now, other things where it's like, like with my kids or something like that I need to process right now, but obviously right now I'm not in front of my kids, so I can't handle that. So, okay, so I put it in the box, and then I'll put it, like, up in front of me, but off to the side, to where it's not, like, in my direct line. It's just, but it's still there, right? And it's like I talk to my ego, and I tell my ego, hey, look, man, we'll handle it as soon as we can. Right. But obviously she's not here in front of us for us to do that. Right.
Right.
So given the
opportunity, before you go on, just to add to that, Chris, for people, because obviously, like, you and I, we've been doing this for a very long time. And then so, like, some of our terminology as well, we're just in it. Boom, boom, boom.
Right.
But, I guess, like, if I had someone that was very new to this, what I would suggest, especially with the beginning of mindset, is I would just ask them to just list everything that comes into their mind. Go put down sections: family, career, weight, health goals, etc. Write every thought that they think. Where the positive and negative, just write it down. But really, because what I want them to do is declutter the mind. So, and then all the negative statements, then I would want them to write a positive statement adjacent to it. But that would be the second part of the exercise. Right. Because what happens is once they can just get just get it out, like diarrhea, get it out, diarrhea. Yeah. But you know what I mean?
No. I call it the verbal puke. There you
go. Exactly. Just, like, get it out. But once they get it out and they see, if excuse my French, but they see their shit, get it out, then you can take that negative statement or that low vibrational statement and then rewrite it in a positive, because then now they're changing the focus. And then that's when we create the new affirmation. We're not writing that negative affirmation. And I'll say to them, now you got these positive affirmations, and then you say those every day. And even if you don't necessarily believe them in your mind, over time, your subconscious will take them to be true, and you will attract that in your life.
Right. And so would you agree that being aware of your thoughts is probably like the best way to get started is just being aware that you're having these emotions and that you want to change them, right?
Absolutely. I think awareness is the biggest thing, because once you become aware of a situation, you have the power. You have the power you have the choice to make that change. Right. And some of us, we need a bit more of a push, or we need support, and that's okay. Like, no one can do things on your own, but definitely find a mentor or a friend or loved ones that can be able to support you through it.
Yeah. And so one of the things that for me, is understanding that, a lot of these things happen to me over and over again because I didn't learn my lesson the first time. Right. So now let me ask you this, because I know for me, it might be a little bit different, but we're going to find out right now. So if you had the opportunity to, like, would you do anything different if you were given the opportunity to?
No. And the reason why I won't do anything different is because, let me go a little deep spiritually. For those of you who are deep, okay, cool. For those of you that are looking like, what? That's my disclaimer. Just bear with me. The reason why I say no is because, this human body is just our vehicle. We are spiritual beings having a human experience, and more people are understanding what that means. Yep. And by being a spiritual being having a human experience, we come here to learn. Therefore, my life as it is right now wouldn't be this way had I not experienced all of those things in the past, all of those challenges or whatever. I wouldn't be Tiik, Spiritual Tiik, Tea Mama, this whatever names people have come up, these beautiful names. I wouldn't be that if my life didn't have the story that it had. You wouldn't be who you are if your life didn't have the story that it has. And we've made decisions to say, okay, I've lived that story a little too long. I don't want that no more. You know what I mean? Like, oh,
absolutely.
But sometimes people ride it for longer than they would like, or I'm going deeper, sometimes that's the lesson of your soul, you know, and
Right.
that's a whole nother conversation for a whole nother day.
Yeah.
But the truth of the matter is that the whole point of that statement is we have the power to change it
Yes.
when we are ready.
Right.
And that's the truth.
And, you know, for the listeners out there, I think that I really want to touch on what you just said right there. One of the biggest epiphanies for me was realizing that I am a spiritual being having a human experience.
Yes.
And once you realize that, you know, and it's even right now, it's awkward for me to say it, but, you know, and I'm glad that you said it, the same thing, because that's exactly how I feel. If I had that opportunity to do things like, would I change anything? Absolutely not. Because I now have realized that the things that were losses to me in the past were actually lessons, and extremely valuable lessons. Absolutely. That once I was ready to understand that, now I look at those things and you know, it's funny, I was telling a friend the other day, he's like, oh, I'll never forgive this person. I'm like, dude, you have to.
You have
right?
to.
You have to.
You
and it's
have
like,
to.
And because forgiveness is not necessarily for them, nor are you condoning what they did, right? Or excusing their behavior, but you need to remove the power that they have in your heart, and like they're taking up precious real estate that the good stuff can't fit in there. You know, if all that hate and resentment's in there.
Absolutely.
Right?
Chris, I'm so glad you said that, because, okay, as we know, I'm an energy healer. What happens is when people, forgiveness is such a big thing. When people don't forgive and then you have resentment, it gets stored in the body. It causes blockages. What does blockages do? It causes dis-ease, discomfort in the body. When you think about those serious diseases that people have, usually it's coupled with some emotional response.
Absolutely.
Like anger. So
Absolutely.
It's damaging. So
Absolutely.
Why hold the frequency? Why hold the emotion? I'm with you 1,000%.
I agree with you. Yeah, seriously, right? I mean, and I think the more that anybody out there listening right now, the more that you can understand that you have to clear out your heart. If you want anything to change, something either has to stop or start, right? Absolutely. So you either have to start forgiving or stop hating.
Yes.
Whatever it is that you want to do, right? However you want to look at it, you know. And for me, you know, I was telling you know, one of my clients that if I actually saw the people that had hurt me, like I would go up to them and say, I was like, yeah, thank you for teaching me what I needed to learn, you know. And
absolutely.
And here's like the biggest thing for me, like, you know, there's one person that hurt me like really, really, really deeply, like, I mean, to my core. And, you know, even that person, I love them to death now, right? And this is why. Had they not cut me so deep,
you wouldn't be where you are.
I would never have found those things that needed to be healed at that level, right?
That's right.
It would have never would have bled out, right? That hurt, that pain that was so deep would still be in there.
Yeah.
And now, because they hurt me to such a deep level, once I was ready to accept that I needed to take responsibility for my happiness, right, is the point where I was like, so this is where I need to heal. This is and then from there is where it starts to grow. Okay, so for those people that are having a hard time finding inspiration, like, where do you find inspiration, like, and how do you do that to start that healing?
So it's been for me as an individual, it's been a collective of things. I think I've always turned to spirituality. I mean, that's my way, but what I would encourage for people is something that makes them happy. So on a very low scale, if you love nature, spend more time in nature. Right. If you love reading inspirational stories and books, read more inspirational stories and books. Right. If you have someone that you look up to, whether that's in like music or, you know, the art, whatever it is, then do more of that. Because when you start to stimulate that happy place is when, you know, those other things, those other low vibrations don't really survive.
Right.
So for me, though, what I do find that's really, really powerful and it's a part of my daily routine, so I would suggest it to anyone out there, is I have this, actually, let me say this to you first. I wrote this book, this ebook that'll be coming out, and it's called Ignite Your Light. And the thing is in that book, I talk about how you get out of bed. And I think to answer your question, it starts from there. So before you even open your eyes, you know, when your body starts to wiggle, when you're kind of like, oh, do I get up? You know, how are you waking up? What are you actually taking in? When you actually do open your eyes, what is in your, you know, what's in your surrounding? What's the first thing that you see? What are you putting into your mindset? How are you starting your day? So if you are wanting to live a more high vibrational life, a more positive life, then the first thing you need to be thinking about, okay, what are you grateful for? Before you even open your eyes, start seeing what you're grateful for. Say it in your mind so you can smile. And you might think, oh, that's weird. She's closing her eyes. She's smiling. No, but I'm feeling good inside of my mind, which means that my whole mood is starting to improve. And then when I open my eyes, what do I see? I see, oh my God, you're amazing. Oh, be purposeful. I'm seeing all these positive words around my room that's stimulating my mind. So when I get up, I'm like, yeah, I'm feeling good. And then I'll turn on something. So now I'm listening to, some inspirational, you know, motivational quotes. And that's my thing. But if it's music, turn on the music, start dancing. Whatever it is that works for the individual. But that's what works for me. And like a morning meditation and things like that. You know, it just helps keep the vibration.
Right. And for me, so one of the things that I've been doing, you know, I'm a huge advocate of working smarter, not harder. Right. So my healing has happened in a very short amount of time, you know. So for those of you who don't know my backstory, so I was homeless for 2.5 years. And just in February, I got off the streets. Right.
That's awesome.
And so my healing really just started in March. And so for me, like the thing that was so difficult in the past was, what's the process? How does someone take those thoughts and get them through their head? How do you declutter? So for me, understanding that I'm a vibrational being and that everything is energy, what I started doing is I went to YouTube and I found frequencies for healing, right? So, I mean, if you look at my watch history on YouTube, it's a frequency for removing self-doubt, self-sabotage, frequency for healing, you know, negative energy, for forgiveness, for, I mean, like it's one after the other, after the other, after the other, with Eric in there, sprinkled in there, Abraham Hicks sprinkled in there.
Beautiful.
Wayne Dyer sprinkled in there, Neil Donald Walsh, right? Like all, like, you know, Gary Vaynerchuk, right? Gary V, right? So for me, I don't know what the theory or what the theory is called, but if you have two clocks, right, and whichever one is more precise, right, and so the part that hangs down, I don't know what that's called, the pendulum, right? If you swing them separately, right, the one that's stronger, the weaker one will start to eventually swing at the same. So I looked at that, and that's what I consider. So my frequency, if my frequency is low, I'm just going to put on a frequency that's up here. And eventually my frequency is going to rise to it because it's a stronger frequency, right?
Absolutely.
It's so funny because so for me, like when somebody asks, well, how do you heal yourself so fast? I'm like, frequencies? I mean, they're like, well, what's right? And when they ask me, well, what's your technique? I'm like, frequencies. I'm like, it's that simple. Right? Because it's like, I don't have, because honestly, I don't have like, I don't have a process that I used to stop wanting to do drugs, to stop, you know, I mean, yes, the spirituality came into it big for me. Like I definitely, it was finally surrendering to my higher power. God is my higher power. So whatever your higher power may be, listeners, it doesn't matter if it's source energy, the universe, Allah, you know, God, whatever it is, Buddha, right? Just surrender to the higher power, knowing that they have the strength. The ascended masters have the strength that we need on a vibrational, on a spiritual level. And as soon as you do, if you ask, you will receive. Let me tell you. And it's like, for me, you know, I finally said, you know, I'm going to give this whole law of attraction thing a try. Worst case scenario, I'll just be right where I'm at right now. Big deal, right? And I'll tell you, in just 4 to 5 short months, like everything. I mean, when you met me, you know, at SPL, would you ever have even thought that just 6 months ago, you know, 7 months ago, I was living in a tent?
No, but not at all. But I need to say something to you, Chris. Like, that is phenomenal. Is this what I mean by everybody has a story? Your story is phenomenal. That alone is inspiration for anyone who's ever thinking, I can't. But you can. You're living proof that you can.
Yep.
You understand what I mean?
Right.
Just 4 short months ago, you're like, boom, I can.
Right.
And this is about you getting into frequencies, and it's more evident, you know, that actually there is some energy, even if no one knew nothing about energy or understood what that meant or whatever. The fact that something happened to where things shifted, like boom, boom, and boom.
Right.
And look where you are now. It's beautiful. It's like beautiful. Like,
Thank you.
I'm not
Thank
clapping
you.
because it's like,
Thank
oh
you.
my God. No, I'm clapping because your soul is remembering that you are a divine being.
Oh my God.
Your soul has remembered that you deserve. Your soul knows it's your birthright to be successful. Your soul knows, oh yeah, I can heal this. I can let this go. You understand what I mean? Like,
Yeah. I
this gives me feels like
show you something. Yeah. So back in March, I started, you know, journaling, right? And so I said, so it says, be the reason, right?
Oh yeah, be the person or reason?
Be the person. Sorry, be the person that I want to be, right? Now. So in order, and then here's this one.
I'm a king by birthright. I was just saying we in tune. I was just saying that.
Right.
Beautiful.
Right.
Beautiful. And couldn't even make beautiful.
Right.
I love that.
Can't make that up, right?
Can't make that up.
And I think that was like understanding that happiness, love is our birthright. Like that's the way we came into this world. We came into this world full of joy and full of love. Not just within ourselves, but our parents as well. Like the second they saw us, all it was love and joy. You know what I'm saying? Like, and so you know, if we can get back to that, you know, and that's been my whole goal, is to get back to feeling like that kid again. And now that I'm there, right? I'm still human. I was just in my bed crying the other day. I'm not gonna lie. You know what I'm saying?
That's fine.
But like you, I'm able to, you know, curtail that real quickly now, right? Because I understand it's just an experience, and I can choose how to experience that.
Chris, the crying is just release. And for the viewers out there, like, because when I was young, I was told, and you know, I'm sure the stories that come out, and my family loves me to pieces, but I was told to stop crying, be a soldier. I didn't know how to cry, Chris. You know what I mean? We see that as a sign of weakness, but actually it's a sign of strength, because you're releasing energetically, you're letting go. So, no, beautiful. And beautiful for you to be a grown man. And yes, people, we said a grown man was shedding some tears, and he living his best life, okay?
Right, absolutely. Right? And I'm not even tripping on it, you know?
No, it's power. It's strength.
It is.
You can look at a situation and you can express yourself. I think that's beautiful.
Yeah.
Absolutely gorgeous.
And the best thing about that is releasing that, because in the past, like, you know, I was the same way. I never cried, you know, ever. Like, I mean, I don't care what happened. Like, you weren't making me cry, right?
Right.
And so you know, through my whole like, you know, spiritual awakening, right? It's just I've let go of all that. Like, I no longer, like, I know that I'm a spiritual being having a human experience, and I can choose how to experience this life. And you know, when I experience the contrast now, you know, I love what Eric said at SPL, right? Like, when he experiences something, like, he goes, interesting, right? And I think I wish he would have gone into it a little bit more at SPL, because what he, you know, what I gathered is he wasn't saying interesting to the fact that he saw a hole cut into his door. He was saying interesting to how that was making him feel at the moment.
Yes.
Right?
Absolutely.
And so when you're starting to get in your feels like that, and you're like, this is, you know, like, I like to call them personally, and excuse my French now, the fuck off moments, right? And I call them the fuck off moments because I want those emotions to fuck off.
Exactly.
You know what I'm saying? So when I'm sitting here going, when I experience one of those F off moments, I'm like, interesting, right? Because like, that made me feel some sort of way that I don't like.
Absolutely, because you start thinking, like he said, well, what did I put out in the universe to attract this? I mean, that's for us getting deeper on a spiritual level, but it is true. It's like, you know, it's just managing that emotion, that flow. You know what I mean?
And I think it's that understanding now, like, I have the understanding that I can choose how to experience those emotions in that very moment now. Whereas before they controlled me. Now when something like that comes through, whether it's anger, sadness, anxiety, I was like, ooh, Okay, don't like that one.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? But now, so I consciously make the choice now to stop. Like, no, I felt it. Now we're recycling back to that initial thought that when it first came in, that's when I curtail it, right?
Right.
So, okay, so next question is how. So, when we're talking about feelings, right? How do you separate your feelings from your decision making?
Oh God. Do I? Now hold on a minute. Cause sugar, I don't know that I do. So I'm a feelings person.
Okay, because a lot. So let me kind of actually rephrase it, or let me preface that.
Okay.
In the past, I used to make my decisions completely with my heart and no mind, right?
Okay.
So how do you properly keep your feelings separate from your decision makings?
Okay. So even though you reframe the question, I still probably will answer the same way.
Okay.
And this may resonate with people and it may not resonate with people. Because for me, and this is who I am as an individual, I've always been instincts, intuition, gut, all of that my entire life. My decisions, so I guess we can look at it two ways when we're talking about feelings and then logic, right?
Right.
I am a heart person. So if it feels energetically right for me, that's how I respond. And for some logic people, that may not work. So if it feels good, I'm like, oh, okay. But at the same time, if it was the logic will come in, if I feel like actually, this isn't for my best interest. So then there is a cutoff point. But then again, feelings attached to that because I would get some sort of feeling to say, actually, that's not right for Tiik. And I won't go that route. Or I'll question that and I'll do the logic thing where I might, literally get a piece of paper out and do the pros and cons. Like, I don't like how this feels. Okay. And that works for people. Right. It does work for me if I feel unsure. I'm just like, what? Just, this feels a bit off. Let me just do the pros and cons, but right. I think my entire life, I still have feeling in it just because of who I am naturally. Right. But I do get what you mean about you being able to tap into that for like situations, for example. Let me use like relationships, for example. Right. Knowing when enough is enough, or right. coming out of a situation, knowing when, yes. So there's an emotional thing for me that goes, this is not right. What do I want? So right. when I say, what do I want, or why am I doing this? Then that's when the pen comes to paper. And then I do that little chart to say, well, how is this serving me? And then, and what's the outcome? What do I really want to see? Because when you right. can decide, like people, for example, when people are in relationships, related, I know I shouldn't do relationship topic. However, relationships to me go all pear-shaped is because people are not secure in what they really want for themselves. Yep. And they get involved in a situation not thinking about what they actually truly love, or not right. even knowing themselves. Right. And then they try to adhere to the other person, and then yep. they get into all these fights. And it's like, well, actually, you wouldn't fight if you understood what you liked or didn't like. They understood what they liked and didn't like. And then if it didn't work, you guys would be like, oh, okay, well, that's okay, because I'm not for you and you're not for me. Right. But, our society don't work like that, but that is the simple way, isn't it? It is. Because that's separating the emotion from logic. Yeah.
Yeah. So would you say that when you start to get those uneasy emotions, let's say that, right? So in the way that you separate that is by putting it down on paper. Is that what gives you the ability to make a sound decision? I'm an emotional person in general, meaning when I say that, when people think, oh my God, she's all emotional, because it's not that, it's a balance, isn't it? And that creates the balance for me. I think that whenever you need to make a difficult decision, that you shouldn't just, in my view, not impulse. Right. You can feel it, and if it feels, see how you feel about it, and then write the pros and cons of the situation. What is your intention? Right. If you don't have an intention, then how are you really going to make a decision? So, for example, being on this personal development, what is my intention? Well, my intention is to serve people. How do I serve people? I serve people from my heart. Well, if I do it from my heart, then I know I can serve more people, and that's feeling and that's logic. You know what I mean? Right. Because it satisfies both. I get a smile and I feel good when I see a smile on your face. Right. Exactly. So that's perfect. That leads right into my next question is what values are you committed to?
Well, transparency, honesty, communication. Communication is a big one for me. Very, very big. I like to communicate everything.
Yeah.
And for
Right? No, I told someone just the other day that expectations are premeditated resentments.
this is it.
And so if you don't communicate, even if you think the other person, even if you've been together, because I was together with my wife for 13 years, my ex-wife, I should say, right? But it got to a point where I expected her to know just because we had been together for so long. But if I'm not communicating that with her, that's an expectation that's going to only end up in the resentment.
Yeah, because she wasn't psychic, babe. Like
right, right.
That happens though, doesn't it? I think when we can, in friendships, with family, in intimate relationships, because everything's a relationship, right?
Yep.
When we can communicate and you can and a good listener, then you don't have no major problems because ego's not involved. Because I'm genuinely coming into the situation going, okay, well, what did you perceive from that? Because we're two different people, you know, and we could be looking at my plant, for example, and I'll say, Chris, what do you see? You may start talking about the roots, right?
Right.
And I might be so on the vibrant green of the leaves, yet we're both talking about the plant.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. So for any of your listeners out there who are maybe, you know, having some problems in your relationships, communication is everything. I mean, everything. But I mean, if you're not communicating to your, you know, significant other, even the small things that you may think that they know, but if they're not doing them for you, you're not communicating them for them. So don't expect them to just read your mind, because then, you know, none of us, you know, maybe further along in our consciousness, you know, in another 50, 60 years we'll be there, but, you know, humans aren't there right now. Okay, so I know that we've been going for a little bit here, Tiik, so I want to just ask you a couple closing questions here. So, so what is the best advice that you can give to help plan a career rather than simply work to keep a job?
For people that want to stay in their career.
So somebody who, let me see. So what's the best advice that you can give someone that to plan a career rather than just to stay in a job?
Okay, well, that's, you know, I'm back to feelings. That, for me, it has to be something from your heart. My biggest thing for people is to stay somewhere where it doesn't feel good. You know why? That attracts more low vibration. Then when you're working in a job and you feel down and you're complaining every day, again, those are affirmations, and you're affirming all of this negativity into your life. You're attracting, the law of attraction works. You're attracting in your life everything that you were saying. And so if you're not happy, don't remain in that place. Actually go back, like I think, Chris, you were talking about your inner child a little while ago. Go back to your inner child. Remember some of those fun things that you really used to do. When people used to ask, what are you going to be when you grow up? And you're like, oh, I'm going to be this engineer or this person. Well, maybe that's not too far-fetched. Go back and see what is your passion, and then make that your reality, because that is where the love comes in. That's where your true career comes in. And I know some people, they'll look at that and go, oh, she's on a fairy tale. No, I'm not on a fairy tale, because I get you need to make money, but make your passion make money for you. Right.
So let's talk about that, because it seems like you have really been able to do that for yourself now. So let's talk about your business. Let's talk about what you do. So you mentioned earlier about your book, and so just for the people, you know, for the viewers, if you want that link will be either below or above, wherever it is, so you guys will be able to get that link. So let's talk about Spiritual Tiik. So tell me about your business. Tell me a little bit more about what's coming up, because I know you were talking earlier before we started recording here that you got some really special things coming up. So let's hear it.
Well, thank you, Chris, for that opportunity. I think for me, the mission is coming alive. That being able to be used as a spiritual vessel, I didn't understand the how a long time ago, and truthfully,
you cut off. Oh, there you go.
My battery is like 20%.
Okay.
But truthfully, you know, going back to what I said, the mission is literally for me to be used as a spiritual vessel, and not understanding the how. And this is so important to everybody out there who have a dream, who feel like they've been instilled with some higher thing that seems so far-fetched. I just need to tell you, beautiful souls, it's not. Because one of my whole coaching things is called living your truth. And living your truth, because through my experiences, I know it can resonate with other people. And living your truth is about living out your passion, going back into the career choice that feels good for you. This is what feels right. being used as a vessel to serve. And that flows into the holistic work that I do. When I go into the studio and I'm working as a Reiki master and I'm channeling energy, I really open myself up to make sure that my client is really receiving that from the divine. You know, I put my whole heart and soul into that in everything that I do. You know, I have Tibetan sound bowls. I'm really into sound therapy. So people that are interested in that. So you've heard my sound bowls on Facebook. I do Facebook Lives to where I just share that with people once a week for about 10 minutes. But I'm also launching a class called Vibrate with Tiik, where people can actually subscribe and you come on live with me, you know, 4 times a month. I'm going to be pre-launching that soon for a subscription, and that's just £19 a month. Now, you know, I don't know where else you can get a class to where you get 4 classes for £19. But the reality of it is, it's not just a class. It's about a meditation. It's for you to be able to find your center and connect, you know, in the privacy of your own home. So that'll be online.
Awesome. And when is that? When is the pre-launch on that?
So because I'm going to the Himalayas, everything's going to, so I'm working on actually dropping that before I go to the Himalayas and then launching everything in September. So just kind of stay tuned.
Okay.
And bear with me.
So late August, early September?
Yeah,
cool.
absolutely. Right. Yeah, absolutely. Because I won't actually start everything officially until I get back from the Himalayas, and that's going to be a journey in itself. I'm going to the Himalayas, y'all.
Right.
And it's all about connecting and expanding, you know.
Exactly.
So I will be recording that and then probably posting those videos later, just to kind of share my own experiences, like a documentary of my experiences in the mountains. Right. But you know, on top of that, you know, everything is happening in flow. So I'm all about the chakras and releasing the blockages. So I have another book that I'm working on. It's an affirmation book, and that should be coming out later this year as well. And that should be on Amazon and all these other places. And really what that is for people to be able to tap into, just, you know, it's a bit like working with affirmation cards. And if anyone knows about that, you open the book and you flip, and wherever you land, that's your message for today.
That's awesome. Nice.
So I've done ayahuasca, for all those people out there that know what ayahuasca is, that plant medicine. I've actually handwritten a journal of my entire experience, and I'm going to be making that into a book as well.
Very cool.
As you've mentioned, oh my God, so many things are happening. I'm like, it's just rolling off my tongue. As you mentioned, I am working with Eric as a global impact creator. I've had a beautiful opportunity of speaking internationally. We are launching an amazing, I don't know how much I can say about this, but it's so amazing. Something else is coming. I don't know if I can just put it out there yet.
All right, well,
stay tuned.
Yeah, stay tuned, right?
But stay tuned. Stay tuned. You'll be seeing a lot of other things happening on a global level in terms of us working and engaging the people. I do the coaching myself. So
people want to connect with you. Right, so if people want to connect with you for the coaching, how do they do that?
So I do, so for the coaching right now, first of all, 2 things. If they're in London, I do spiritual coaching. I can do that online. I can do energy healings online, like Reiki or Theta. I do physical treatments. So people that are interested in physical treatments, then I do free consultations, and then I'll supply Chris with that link. So people can click on that and see my diary, and I can do like a Skype or something like that.
Perfect.
So people can access me that way. I mean, I'm on the usual right now. I'm building up. So I'm on the Instagram as Spiritual Tiik. So that's spiritual_Tiik. I am on Facebook as Latika Russell, but I have a Facebook page at Spiritual Tiik. You can find me. I just started a YouTube. Oh my God. You can find me on YouTube now as Spiritual Tiik. And one day we'll get to the Twitters and all of that.
Right. Well, awesome. Well, thank you so much for your time, Spiritual Tiik. I love you so much.
I love you too.
Wonderful. So all the listeners, make sure that you look in the description. We're going to have all the links to be able to get her book now, and then we're going to keep you guys updated for the other books and let you know when that stuff's coming out too. All right. Love you guys. Namaste.
Thank you. Love you. Bye.